Hey everyone, it's Fantasy, or you can call me Fan, and we got an exciting update to KHPC, which if you don't know, it's an armored focused tank game with some cool simulation mechanics, which this update will focus on. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, as your support will mean a lot. So one of the main focuses of this update is the delivery of the Marder A1 Plus infantry fighting vehicle. In one of our previous updates, we have the A1-, which didn't have any of the thermal sights at all. The Plus variant has a very interesting and quirky thermal system. But in terms of the hardware, it's pretty much the same hull and same firepower and everything. I do highly recommend reading the devlog because it details the rabbit hole that the devs went through to understand the system. But in short, the Germans called it the, I'm not going to pronounce it, but in short it's WOE or WOE. There are multiple nicknames for it, such as heat detector, heat locator, thermal imager, or as the devs call it, the thermal pointer. Unlike the flare optics, which is in the Abrams or the M60A3 TTS, the sight works completely different, so the team couldn't just copy paste the current existing asset into the Martyrs. In fact, there are very few or little or no games at all that really cover the A1 Plus, but the devs were committed to doing it right. That meant researching a site with 0 surviving examples, as every WOE unit was pulled out when the Germans upgraded to the 1A2, and accessing the Bundeswehr archives is nearly impossible and restrictive these days. But from talking to those who have served previously with the Martyrs, they described it as red dots, the gold sparkles show where the targets are, to it's like Tetris blocks, or they dance around and blink on and off, kind of like what you're seeing here. Eventually the team had dug up the original user manuals, tech drawings, and anything on paper, and they reverse engineered the sights for KHPC. In terms of the key specs, it has a 2 Hz refresh rate, a 60x20 sensor resolution, and it uses a P27 phosphor compound that makes those dots glow orange red. Thanks to their research and reading through the paperworks, your Marder thermals now blinks exactly like it did in 1985. If you're really interested in the research, I encourage you to read the full devlog, as they really explain the process. And again, they could have slapped a generic thermal view on the A1 Plus, but they've chosen to be accurate instead, and this is why KHPC as a simulation is quite special. By the time KHPC is set in, at least for this Folder Gap theater, the A1 Plus variant was actually more common than the A1-, so you should be seeing them in the current existing missions. Unfortunately, there are no new missions in this update, but you're always free to swap vehicles to the Marder. Furthermore, which I'm also excited to see, is that they reworked the thermal visions in terms of its visuals and colors, and they also added a feature to be able to change from white hot or black hot by holding the left control and T to change. This is obviously up to you as a gunner and your preference on what you want to use. Bradley should now correctly display the yellow reticles in the thermal sights. The M60A3 TTS should now display the black hot label when using that thermal mode. Another added immersion and simulation experience is manual reloading, which is something that I really wanted for the game. This mainly affects the Warsaw Pact, as it was standard procedure for the commander to give the command to reload, which you can do so by pressing R or selecting the new ammo type. If you're like me who disables the AI from controlling the ammo type, this is good for Soviet tanks with autoloaders, as it's easier now to just switch to the next ammo type after you fire your first round. This is also similar to Steel Beast when you're playing with the T-72s, where you have to press a button to auto-load the next round. For those who prefer a much simple or the old system, you have the option to change it. But overall, this is a nice added immersion experience for Soviet-made tanks. There's also some changes and improvements to the audio, where they improved the Marder engine sound and also the MG3, which let me know if you guys prefer this sound. There's also been several bug fixes and changes that you can check out. But what are your thoughts on this? Even though it doesn't really hit a major milestone or anything, I think it does show commitment to the immersion and the simulation experience. And the Marder A1 Plus is an example of just how far they're committed to go in terms of accuracy and research. Overall, the Marder is a great IFV, and I think it does deserve some attention to its detail. and it's going to be one of the many armored fighting vehicles that we get to use in KHPC. Of course, KHPC is still a work in progress, but I think the commitment to the details is something to give credit to. And obviously, I do hope to see more improvements to the gameplay and even the overall user experience, which is probably coming later. But I do sense overall we do hope to see more gameplay improvements. But to give credit, content is content, and so let's hope to see more of that. And you guys can always support them too by giving your feedback and checking them out as well too. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like with an AP round and subscribe for more if you haven't already, as I do cover tactical and immersive games like KHPC. And as always, I'll see you guys in my next video or stream.